Now that the smoke is settled from that horrific, horrific loss to Philly, I think it's about time that we start wondering what we do next. How do we go about improving now? Because it's been pretty obvious that this has not been good enough. We look terrible. Orlando looks terrible. And of course, there's been moments, the first three quarters against Atlanta, the fourth quarter against Miami. There have been moments. But overall, over the stretch of an entire game, it's been horrific. It's been terrible, man. And I think that's what's the at the root of most of this concern and why things feel as bad as they do. We can sit here and say, our championship window is open for 4 years. Let's just give this process time. The guys will have to get used to it. They'll get used to the speed. They'll get used to the adjustments on both ends, and they'll figure it out. They might, right? I'm not discounting that. Again, if our championship window is open for 4 years with this squad, so you would think there's nothing wrong with. I don't want to say giving up a year to trying to make this work, but with some experimentation. And with that in mind, I might even just lower my expectations for a short time just to allow for experimentation, just so we can try different things and see what might work. Okay, I think with how much longer we want to give this pace and space style of play a run, I don't know. I'm almost willing to say, I want to slow it down again. I want us to go back to how we used to put teams in the mud. I want to slow it down. I want the goal walking into every game to be keeping the opposing team under 100 points and reducing turnovers. Okay, let's put them in the mud. Let's keep them under 100 because in my mind, we have enough skill in this squad from top to bottom to get 110, 115 points per game without any type of offensive philosophy. We have the skill. We got 25 from France, 25 from Paolo, 20 to 25 from Bain. 20 from Suggs maybe. Right? Like we have 100, 110, 115 points in this squad. AB, De Silva, right? Whether that's Jace, Wendell pouring in another 10 to 12. Right? We have the squad to get over 100 points. Like I said, 110, 115 right now feels right to me. And we poured in 121 against Philly. So I would my mode of thinking right now is let's go back to the basics. I would say let's allow no more than 2 turnovers per quarter. Right? Not obviously you want that number to be 0, but let's be realistic here. Let's just treat it like fouls. Once you've hit your second turnover in the quarter, you have to play it completely safe. Slow it down. No more risky plays, no more risky passes. Let's just make sure that we hold possession. Okay? Maybe we can bump it up to 3 per quarter. Like I said, ideally it's 0. Ideally it's 0, but I'm not going to sit here and demand perfection because I don't see that happening from any team. I think it's impossible. But if you want to set the goal at 0 turnovers, literally under 100 points per night, and then 115 per night, and say anything less is unacceptable, feel free. But I think if we just keep them under 100, make that the goal, make that the aim, and even if they end up with 104, 105, we can live with it. Even if some teams manage to get up to 109, 110, so long as we're winning. But as of right now, we're going to be, with the defense looking how it is, and this style of play, it almost feels like to win games, we're going to have to score 130. Because with the defense looking how it is, we can almost guarantee that they're going to score 125. 120 to 125. Can our offense get 125 to 130 points per night? I don't think so. We can get close. Like I said, we obviously have the skills to get close, but let's lower what we actually need to do in terms of offensive production. Okay, let's make it that we can win games comfortably with 110 to 115 points. Let's make defense the goal. Let's bring it back to basics. Let's play our game. Let's not try and play the league's game. Let's go back to our identity. Let's play Orlando basketball and let everyone else adjust to us. We don't adjust to them. They adjust to us. I wouldn't mind experimenting, and let me put it like this. In terms of how long we give the experimentation, that Knicks game, I think it's November 13, correct me if I'm wrong, but that Knicks game, every game from now until then, experiment, try things. But by that Knicks game, I want you to have an identity sorted, a plan ready, and the expectations back up here to go and start winning some basketball games again. Okay, I might even forgive a loss to Charlotte and Washington after this Detroit game. Okay, I might, like I said, every game from now, if you're experimenting, trying things, I'll give you up until that Knicks game to experiment and to mess around with rotations and philosophies and whatever you want to do. But it has to be sorted by that Knicks game. Is that fair? Because I don't want to give a whole season to this 4-year window to figuring this out. I don't, because next year, Indiana's going to be back. Boston will probably be back. Other teams in the league are going to improve, especially in the East. We don't, like, the window looks open, but everyone else is going to be improving and shifting. Okay, it's not really how we think it, we know the league's not going to stay the same. Okay, we really have to, this is a massive opportunity for us, for teams like Indiana to be down, for teams like Boston to be down. Okay, it's a massive, massive opportunity for us because it's hard to see anyone else. Maybe by the end of the decade, maybe the Knicks and Cleveland start to decline, but like, who might rise in their place even if that does happen, right? But those teams aren't so old that we can guarantee that by that time they won't be about, like, they should still be competitive. Their windows are open too. So I would say let's let that Knicks game be the date that we make a decision on all this. And every game from now, from Detroit up until that game, feel free to try stuff. I'll try to chill out and say, yo, it's all right. I'm going to lower the expectations for now. But that Knicks game, it goes back to where it was. That Knicks game, we need it figured out. That's the deadline. Let's make that the deadline, because there's no other job in the world in which you don't have to deal with deadlines. It's not unfair to give it a date, and I want that to be the date, because that's a game that I really want to win, that Knicks one. Why? Because for me, them and Cleveland should be our biggest rivals in this conference. You could argue maybe Atlanta, but again, I think we're better than Atlanta. We proved that for 3 quarters at least. I think we are better than them on paper. Maybe they're having the same troubles that we are, that they can't really figure it out with the changes that they've made to their squad. I still think that we're better than them on paper. And again, the game's not played on paper, but I think we can be a better squad than them. I think we have a better team than them. But we'll see. I'm not disrespecting Atlanta. I'm not disrespecting any of these teams, but it's just what we have on paper. Our expectations are right to be set high. These are very skilled players. And I'm not trying to be critical of any of them. But I want them to hit their potential. I want them to succeed. I want them to do it. And I know they can do it, right? I have nothing but full belief. What I don't have right now is results. I believe they can get them. And if somehow me yelling into a camera on YouTube helps in any way, then I'll do it. Okay, because again, I love this team. I'm a supporter of this team. The one thing I would rather is victories and winning. And for me, the approach is just, talking about what I love, what I'm passionate about firstly, but also in terms of the message I deliver, the same kind of message that I would want delivered in the locker room if I'm playing. Okay, or at the very least, the same kind of approach. Okay, things aren't looking good. Let's give it till this next game. Until then, we're going to have to experiment and try things. That's what I'm saying. And if you're asking what approach I would like you to take in between that time, slow it down. Focus on keeping the opponent to under 100 points. And obviously reduce turnovers, but that should go without saying. Okay, and just run the half-court offense. And rely on the skill that we have to beat teams with 110 to 115 points per game. Because like I said, if your defense can't stop anyone from scoring, and that necessity to score goes up to 125, 130 per game, then we're in trouble, right? You end up turning into, say, Liverpool this season in the English Premier League, right? Where they're winning games 2-1, 3-2. You want to keep a clean sheet. You want to make sure that one goal is enough, okay? And you also want to make it on the reverse end that teams need to score 2 goals to beat you, okay? And it's the same thing. Keep it under 100. Keep it under 100. And the offense, like, let's set the expectation at 115. Okay, because I think that's fair. I think that's something that we can hit regularly. Worst case, 110. Okay, because we can do it. I know we can do it. Let's go.